Hello, what is up, guys? This is episode 2 of Badinage. I got some good feedback regarding the first episode I did, and well, there it is right there. That's my biggest thing. I gotta stop saying That I gotta stop. I listened to the first episode after I recorded it, and I noticed that I couldn't stop saying But I think it's because it was at the end of a long Christmas day. So, I'm just gonna I'm gonna work on it. So don't worry. But the other thing I got was, why is it called badinage? Like, people were kind of confused by this. I don't really know what to tell you. I just think that's it's a good word for like being conversational, and it sounds kind of cool, Badinage. Oh shit, I just said again. Every time I say it, I'm gonna slap myself in the face. Can you hear that? Did the microphone pick it up? So I just gave myself 2 slaps for the retroactively. So going forward, if I say it again and it's like unnecessary, I'm just gonna slap myself in the face. So yeah. And also I should work on the yeah and the likes and the ums and any kind of filler. I don't really, that's a trait I kind of despise in other people, and to do it myself would be it would be hypocritical of me now, wouldn't it? I don't like, you ever talk you know what? Maybe I should slap myself again. There's 2, because I just did it twice. Alright, I'm not gonna go too crazy. If I say it, and I feel like I needed to say it, it's like boxing, There it is. It's like boxing. Sometimes you gotta hold on to the ropes, and that phrase is kind of like the ropes conversationally. What was I saying? Oh yeah, I don't like when other people use filler words. Something I've noticed is that a lot of younger girls have this voice where they insert like a lot. So they'll be saying something like, so like I was on like you like tube, and like I like was like listening like to like a pod like cast, and it just gets kind of ridiculous. But I don't think I'm at that stage yet, but if I get there, you can send me an email and I will continue to work on that skill. Yeah, that's why I don't like younger women. They don't have the sultry voices that the older women do. I like old bitches. I like women that are 100 years old at least. I like bitches that lived through the Great Depression. Not this 2020 bullshit. I'm talking the real shit. Yeah. I like older women, because older women can put some hair on your chest, you know what I'm saying? That's disgusting. I just find it's hard to get along with someone that has a nasally voice that you always laugh at. So it's hard to be around someone like that. One time I was working at the dollar store, and the store was going out of business, so there was like a lot of customers. People were just coming out of the woodwork like cockroaches. People that were struggling to speak English that should have just stayed home and did nothing. They were at the store that day. And I remember this girl came up to me one time because we were having a sale on everything. So she came up to me with like a funny, I don't mean to be mean, but she was like, "Do you have parchment paper?" And I was like, yes. And she's like, I want parchment paper so I can make cookies for my friend. And I just burst out laughing, and I just told her where the parchment paper was. That's an anticlimactic story, but I think that's all you need there. Ever since that day, I haven't been able to stop doing that voice or thinking about that girl with this stupid ass voice. Do you have parchment paper? I want to make cookies for my friend. I was like, oh, you mean parchment paper? Yes, we have that. You know, when you're working customer service, you have to pretend to you have to pretend that everyone is normal and treat everyone with the same amount of respect, even though some people are more hilarious than others, let's just say. What was I talking about? Younger women versus older women. I'm not going to get into that. That's disgusting. But something I wanted to say, I do have a theory about people, okay? I'm going to run this by you. Some of you might be offended by this. Some of you might write in your little letters. I might get hate mail. I've gotten hate mail in the past. But you know what? I'm just going to have to say it. People are like French press coffee. That's the theory, okay? So, you know, a French press coffee machine, I don't know if you've ever made French press coffee before, but you can't leave the grounds in there for more than 4 minutes. Like, you have to separate the water within a certain amount of time. Otherwise, the coffee will become shitty and just bitter and over. You gotta separate the water from the coffee grounds. Okay? That's just me. Some people leave it in there the whole time. But if you separate the water too early, you don't get the flavor. But if you separate it too late, it ruins it. Okay? So the reason why I say people are like French press coffee, I think people need to get like ripe. I don't know if that makes sense to you, but people that are 0 from 25. So if you're 0 years old, which makes no sense, to the age of 25 years old, you are not a person. Like, you're full of shit. But when you're 25 to about 50 years old, I think that is when you got to pour out that coffee. You're in the prime of your life. And I think anyone past 50 years old should be thrown out and is useless, and that's not good coffee. I'm sorry to offend the boomers listening to this, the people over 50 years old. I don't think anyone over 50 is listening to this. I don't think anyone is listening to this, quite frankly. But that's my theory on people. I believe that people are like French press coffee. there's a certain amount, there's a window of time that you have with your capabilities. And you know how you can tell? People over 50 always have to tell you, well, I'm just beginning my life. I still feel as young as I... No, they're lying. That's cognitive dissonance. If being over 50 was cool, then why does Viagra exist? It exists because after 50, everything stops working and shit. You're done. I'm going to kill myself on my 49th birthday. The eve of my 50th birthday. I'm going to kill myself when I'm 49 years old, right before... on February 27, I'm going to kill myself when I'm 49 years old. Don't take that clip out of context and send it to the authorities, please. I would appreciate that. So yeah, I got some good feedback. Some people seem to like badinage. And yeah, badinage. That is a word. Look it up. It's one of my favorite words. That's why I chose that word to be the title of the program. I just think when you have like a microphone, it doesn't matter what your voice sounds like. You could have a shitty voice, but if you have a nice microphone and you say the word badinage, it brings out something beautiful, you know? Like, you ever listen to NPR? Sometimes they're full of shit. They're not that, like, amazing, but the things that they say, the microphone, it brings it out. Hello, you are listening to NPR, and this is Masturbation Hour, and today on the program, we're just going to be talking about people that like to masturbate on the TTC, and today we're going to be talking to the expert in this field. I was about to say a name, but I don't want to say a name. I don't want to dox anyone in such a disgusting manner. You know who you are. Who was that guy, the Persian kid that was jacking off on the TTC? I can't even remember his name, but that was a really funny story. And can you imagine? That's a great way to go out. You whip it out. By the way, if you are unfamiliar with this story, because I don't know, not all listeners might be living in Canada, but there was a kid a couple of years ago, I think it was 2013, he had a knife in one hand, and in his other hand, he had his private part, and he, I don't know how to phrase this, he was threatening people with two hands, let's just say. Anyway, he got shot like a bunch of times. Terrible story. I think he was on drugs, and I don't even know why I brought that up. That is just... Oh, because I was talking about NPR, and how when you have a microphone, it doesn't matter like the content of what you're saying. The quality of microphone, people will listen. I genuinely believe this. It's like, you know, when I was in university, let me take a sip of water for this amazing story. When I was in university, you know how they used to have participation marks? That brings out the worst in people, because people that have nothing to say would put up their hands and just talk a bunch of shit. There was this one girl who had a British accent, and she would never say anything particularly smart, but she would just put up her hand for like every single question, and she'd just be like, well, in this passage here, I think that this author is talking about how this man would like this woman to lick his love pump. Just random stupid shit like that. And she would just be applauded. the professor would just clap and be amazed just because she had a British accent. Ridiculous. I hate all accents, like equally. I think people should sound North American. I know that sounds terrible to say, but you know how I like what I think people should sound like? I think every human being should sound like Brian from Family Guy. That's a great way to talk because it's just like, I don't know. I shouldn't say that. Someone's going to take that out of context, and when I'm trying to get a job at SNL or some shit, someone's going to say, "You see this? This is an example of, I don't know. What's the word? In this show, Larry Singleton said that he likes people to sound like him. This is a nationalist podcast." No, I don't know. That's not what I'm saying. But you understand, right? You guys are cool. The 2 or 3 of you listening. That's like the prejudice that I have, that I'm willing to share with you. I don't like accents, and I don't like people over 50. Alright? There. I said it. Sue me. No, I'm just kidding. I love all people. We're all one. No, that's a lie too. Some people, I think you're allowed to dislike some people. I mean, come on. What about rich people? Rich people suck, bro. I hate them. Do you ever just hate people for fun? I like to do that. I live with my parents, so recording this show is a bit of a challenge because I can't really just pick any single time I want. So I just have to I have a set time, a short window of opportunity. So that's why I hate rich people, because they can basically record podcasts anytime they want. Not that I don't think if you're rich you're probably sitting around thinking, should I let me record a podcast to give people financial advice. I don't think that's how it works. I think if you're rich, you probably get to a place where you don't even think of other people as real people, you know? When you get to a spot where you're super rich, the only people that give advice are the people that give financial advice are people that are selling you shit. They're they'll pretend that they're giving you advice, but they're being salesmen. All right? Trust me, I know. As you have learned in the last episode, I used to be a master salesman. In my early 20s, I was a charming young man. That was the dumbest thing I said in the last show, I think. What was I going to get to here? Oh yeah, rich people. I hate them. I hate all rich people. I hope they die. I hope there's a pandemic that affects rich people in the opposite manner that the COVID virus affected them. Because right now it's the largest transfer of wealth ever for rich people. Bro, there's probably rich people that are laughing at this shit. They love that COVID happened. I hope an epidemic happens where it just only affects rich people. I don't know how it would work. Maybe that's why they're in such a rush to make everything online, because they know that germs are on money. They're tired of sharing money with poor people because they don't want us to touch their money. I don't want to be too negative about rich people in case I become one someday, But I also think it's funny to, like, hate people sometimes. I don't think self-pity and envy is a healthy thing. You know, this victimization of, like, why can't I have what this, you know? It should be me. I don't think that's healthy, obviously. However, I do think sometimes it's good to, like, you know, to vent and to have a sort of outlet. But something I gotta work on, because I really do. I hate rich white people. I fucking hate them. I hate them. I'm sorry to use coarse language there, but it's just true. I hate them. It's just, you know what it is? This is something I wanted to get into, actually. I think we live in such a culture of mediocrity. All right? The culture we live in, I was thinking about this recently, and the reason why I'm so resentful about, like, rich white people, I'm just going to throw all the cards on the table. Name the race. No, I'm kidding. The reason why I'm so resentful of successful rich white people is that a lot of them they're not, like, special. It's such a mediocre culture that it doesn't really take someone that amazing, like, to be a success in this culture doesn't really say that much about the success if you think about it. Like, imagine this. There are people that there's kids that are forced by their parents to review toys on YouTube, and they're millionaires just because their parents were, however you want to put it, they had the foresight, or they were exploitative enough to put their kid to work at 4 and 5 years old. Of course, the kid gets a bunch of toys, but can you imagine? You have a child, and you force your kid to review toys for YouTube. That doesn't mean that just because you guys are a millionaire, you guys are millionaires after that, now you get to live better than me. Screw that shit, bro. Like, consider this. There's, like, girls that are on OnlyFans that do, you know, I'm not going to get into that whole, what they do with their mouths and anus. I'm just kidding. But there's people that just do stuff. I know, I get it. Sex work is work, whatever. But they get to live in condos, $2,500 a month apartments downtown, and here I am in my bunker living with my parents just because I won't blow a dude. Like, capitalism is just so absurd. It doesn't make any sense to me. To be a success in this culture is absolutely, it's hilarious. Who gets put through and who has to eat shit. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to fall into this self-pity and envy thing, but at the same time, I am willing to bet none of these people that are rich idiots, I bet you, I probably go to the library more than them. I read more books than them. I bet you none of them have ever thought about life philosophically before. They don't think about their existence. They just all they did. I've done a lot of thinking about this, and I genuinely believe all it takes is a little bit of assertiveness. So if let's say you're a shitty human being, like you're 65 to 70% good. all you have to do is be forceful and assertive with your shittiness, and you can push that to like 100 and get somewhere, you know? That's why I'm so bitter and like negative about rich people. It's like, you know, why can't I have that? I'm better than you. I know that sounds bad, but seriously. What do you have that I'm not going to get into it. I do hate rich people though. I hope they all die. Just because I won't blow a guy, I can't have a condo and I have to live with my parents and I have to record podcasts at 1 a.m. You know what I did the other day? This might not be a good thing to say, but I'm gonna say it anyway. I was so angry and bitter the other day that I was going through my this is just terrible. I was going through my contact list on various social media channels, and I was I was unfollowing a bunch of people like in a row because I was doing the thing where you're comparing your life to theirs, and I was just angry. I don't know why I did this. Sometimes I do this anger jack off thing where I look at you know how good people's lives are, but on this particular day I just started unfollowing a bunch of people at the same time because I was just angry. And I was sitting there, I was like, bro, I have read all of Proust. I have read all of In Search of Lost Time. I'm smarter than you. I'm better than you. What have you done? Why is your life so much better? And I just kept doing that. I know that's terrible, but I don't know. Sometimes you just get to a place where terrible things make you laugh. You know? I'm gonna slap myself there for saying, you know, again. What was the other thing I wanted to say? Oh, the last show I had, I ended on such a down note that I wanted to do the opposite, which is this, like next year, I was reading this thing that, you know, people have been comparing the 2020s to the roaring 20s, and there seems to be this belief, however bad this year was, some people seem to still hold out hope that this decade, and maybe even as early as next year, might actually be it might have a positive side to it, just like the roaring 20s when the vaccines are brought in, everyone's cured, and, you know, there's a prosperous time, the economy is good. So, you know, who knows? Maybe we might have a good ending to this shit. I am not too sure. After this year, anything is possible. But I would like to leave you with that image. I don't know. I really hope this year was just dog shit for me. I don't know if I will get into the specifics here, but buddy, let me tell you, death, misery, living with your parents, staying I'm not gonna go into the rest, but yeah, you know what? I think that was a great way to end. This was episode 2 of Badinage. You're listening to NP. I'm just gonna do wacky voices for another 40 minutes. No, you know what? I'm just joking around here. I think I'm going to leave you with the image of the roaring 2020s. So just think about that. What did I want to tell you guys? I wanted to tell you about the roaring 20s. Don't fall into self-pity and envy like me. And remember that we live in a culture of mediocrity. So if you feel bad that you're not a success like I do, just keep that in mind. Most successful people are not that bright. And here's the thing. There's one more thing I wanted to say about this. Just because this is venting here, okay? I'm going to get real here, guys. I'm going to be real with you. The thing you have to remember about successful people is that things can always change. You know? There it is again, you know. But things can always change. You could, like halftime at a football game, you never know what could happen. And on that note, no, actually, I'm stalling because there was something I was about to say. Let me take a sip of water, and I'm gonna come back to you. Okay, I think I remember what I was gonna say, but like barely. I was trying to explain that the people that are successful now, I don't think they will ever be great. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? This is what I mean. Some artists take time to become like truly great. I was reading this biography about Bukowski, and it was crazy because his whole life he was, he had a tough. His life was not that great, but the thing about it that was it struck me as kind of cool is that he had this. It seemed to me that he had this innate belief the whole time he was suffering that he would actually come out on top, and he would achieve something great. He grew up with all these like rich white assholes that his family was experiencing the depression and they were just fine. But now in history, who remembers any of those other people? They don't. No one talks about them. They talk about Bukowski. So some things take time, Yeah. So I gotta stop being bitter. But boy, is it fun, let me tell you. Sometimes it's fun to hate people. But you can't. You just gotta focus on the roaring 20s and the positives, okay? There's gonna be an end to this shit. And even if we don't have a good ending, at least we all die at the end. I'm looking forward to that, I'll tell you that right now, buddy.